Hey guys, your boy. Another outing breakdown. My microphone is all weird. Yeah, that's the hardest part about what I do, honestly. Baseball and content creation is the different setups for like the office or the desk. Everything's always different. You got to adapt. I did get my headphones sent out here though, so that's cool. A quick shout out to OnForm for the dopest app in the league that I could use for these outing breakdowns, mechanical breakdowns. Check them out on the App Store, Google Play, all that jazz. OnForm allows me to draw and all that stuff, so it's pretty freaking dope. We're gonna look at 11-11 outing. Gonna be a quick one inning. See this scoreboard right here? I want to be able to climb up there and put my camera with a telephoto lens so we can get that. There's going to be an outing breakdown I do. One of my recent outings, I'm actually recording this on December 9th, so a month later, that I recorded with one of my cameras in Carolina because their bullpen sits up behind center field and it's actually pretty dope. So I think I want to do that, but I got to get my telephoto lens sent out here. All right. But yeah, this is the camera quality. Yeah, so 3-0, top of the 8th. If you're a reliever, like the scoreboard doesn't mean a whole lot. There's going to be another outing breakdown I do against this same exact team. I came in, we were up by a bunch of runs, and it was really hard to pitch in because I could feel like my energy levels, there wasn't that like extra gas pedal type approach, that adrenaline that comes within, being a reliever and coming into games that are somewhat tight. And, it cost me. So as a reliever, always just come in with the foot on the gas, man, right? Like no matter what the score is. As you can see here, we're down 3-0. This is actually a freaking dope game because we come back and win this thing. But I'm coming in here and I'm just sticking to my game, throwing strikes, attacking early, attacking often. So first pitch, ball, fastball down, go right to the slider. That's another dynamic that I forgot to talk about in the last outing breakdown. As a reliever, there's this beauty in like not having to set guys up for certain pitches, right? As a starter, I love starting, but I'm just not as good at it. But as a reliever, I'm a lot better. And I think that has something to do with what I was just kind of talking about with this, what's your best stuff? All right, here it is. Good luck. There's not much of this like, oh, I'm going to set you up. I threw a fastball down. Now I'm going to throw this fastball, shade, arm side, and a little bit elevated to set you up for that, slider later in the account, or maybe your next at bat. Like there's none of that. It's like, all right, these are my best stuff. This is my best stuff. And this is my best sequence. Here we go. Get after it. So the 1-0, go right to the cutter there. I love the side view of our broadcast though. The camera's super crisp in this angle, which is nice. So 1-1, and then throw the fastball, middle in. Henry makes a good play in center. That's a pretty decent sequence in my opinion, to be completely honest. So if we look at like what the cutter does, right, like 1-0, and what that sets up for future, for future pitches in that count. So if something I do as a reliever is, maybe I shouldn't say this because maybe other people are watching this that are going to hit off me. But something that I do is early in counts, I throw a specific pitch and I don't put a whole lot of emphasis on like, all right, so for example, 0-0. I'm not putting a whole lot of emphasis on the particular location of this fastball, whether it be like down, up, away, in, right? I'm throwing this fastball with maximum intent and just full aggression, right? And wherever it ends up, then I sequence off that pitch. So for this example, I'm going 0-0, fastball, down and away. So then we're 1-0, but now I can tunnel off that fastball down and away to see what the hitter's kind of, what the approach is. All right, so then I throw the slider or the cutter, and I actually started it a little bit inner third, and it ran down the middle. So that's kind of like my approach, honestly, to relieving, whereas starting, I kind of have a set understanding of how I want to attack guys based on their lineup and what they've shown me in like previous games or whatever. And I think, throwing pitches like what you saw there with the fastball, 1-1, middle, you get away with it as a reliever because I think, obviously the intent's higher and the stuff's a little bit better, but also there's, no doubt in like the hitter's mind that he could throw whatever in any count. Right. Whereas a reliever or as a starter, there's a little bit more emphasis on like pitching to contact, early contact, get in, get out, stuff like that. So second guy, 0-0, fastball. And this is another beauty about, being being back as a reliever. is throwing a 0-0 fastball, essentially middle, right? So middle 0-0 fastball and getting a foul ball a little bit tardy with the barrel. And that's something that I wasn't used to as the start of this past season. Yeah, we've talked a lot about velocity. So that's always nice to be able to do that. And now I'm going to sequence kind of off that particular 0-0 pitch, right? As I sit here and drop the ball and play with it and whatnot. Here we go. Let's go. Pick that up. Ah, now, kid. Nice stirrups. All right, let's go. Get your Volt grip. And, oh my gosh. Why did I clip this? Okay. 0-1. And fastball down gives me the call. So this is kind of like reading hitters as well. You throw an 0-0 fastball middle. You're typically thinking in that particular situation, homeboy at the dish is gearing up for an 0-0 heater. And with him being geared up for the 0-0 heater and him fouling it off tardy, gives me a pretty freaking good understanding that like he's either not seeing the heater well out of my hand, or he struggles with, you know, the velocity of it. So I'm not going to really do him any favors there. 0-1. And I'm actually going to try to expand, you know, whether it be in, down, or away. And I actually end up getting the call. So now as, you know, it's 0-2, he's upset. I'm super thrilled. And then I throw the 0-2 hanging slider. I said this on last outing breakdown. I said, I try to avoid punches, you know, at all costs. And I do a pretty dang good job of it. But this is frustrating for me, you know, because it's like I understand. Like my dad, for example, caught in the late 80s, early 90s, he would be like, what are you doing? You threw two fastballs that he didn't, you know, one he swung at, wasn't even close, and the other one didn't want any part of it. Got the call. What are you doing throwing a slider? I see that, but I also see the side of it like, okay, I threw the first fastball, he was late. I threw the second fastball, I didn't like the call at the, you know, very bottom of the zone. But now I can throw the freaking cutter or slider, whatever, you know, at that same spot that fastball started, and him knowing the ump just freaking called that fastball at the knee, he's gonna be anxious as all get out because no one wants to strike out looking, right? They don't want to leave it into the umpire's hands. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna throw this one, literally start it here, and I didn't care if it freaking bounced there. You know, I just know that when hitters get you know, a tough call from the umpire or whatever like that, especially the ones that are swinging 0-0 that are aggressive early in counts, they want to get going. And so that was my intent behind it. It was like, oh, all right, I'm going to throw the 0-2 one, throw the slider hard off that, and it's going to end up in the dirt, and then we can go from there. But instead, I throw it middle. And that's always a good spot for it, right? Let's see where this thing ends up. And I also don't really tunnel anything at the top shelf where this one started. Don't throw it there, kids. Don't do that. That's how you end up like me. Don't get any freaking punchies. Another good play, though. Another good play by Henry. Now, let's learn from our mistakes. I'll get a lefty here. 0-0. Fast. Oh, no, a little Volk P. I love starting off guys, you know, with, and again, I don't mean to throw it kind of at like the front hip, but starting guys off with a change up, it's, what are you going to do after that? You know, a lot of unpredictability in that. I try to get fancy here. I try to go Volk P, inner third, and then I try to go cut P, little backdoor Johnson. We're not there. It's fine. All right. So now we're 1-1. What do we want here? Shake, 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 shake. We did go back to the Volk P. I like that sequence, man. So 1-1 Volk P, fouled it off. That's a really good camera angle too. Those really nice stirrups. Why do I record this? Or why do I clip this stuff? Like this content? Maybe just because I like the camera. So now we're 1-2. Volk P, cut P, didn't really even count as a cut P. You probably thought it was a fastball. Another Volk P. 1-2. What's he doing? This is where like my dad and I get into these arguments because he's like slow, a little bit harder, but slow category, and then slow again. And he's like, now you blow him up with the speed. For me, I look at it like, okay, if he's thinking about the speed, right? Like kind of hitters think about like the same thing. Go slower, right? So 1-2 curveball. Ooh, a little keyframe I did here with a little shimpy. Shimpies are shimmies, if you guys didn't know. All right, so let's talk about that sequence. Why do I like to do that? Everyone's different in how they approach, guys. And that's the beauty of sequencing. That's the beauty of pitch sequencing, but that's also like kind of like the slippery slope of pitch sequencing, because there's not just one way to do it, right? And just because if you think to yourself, you have a really good sequence against a guy, like it's not guaranteed that it's going to work out for you. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that this particular sequence is successful 100% of the time. It's not. But where I'm thinking with this stuff, and yeah, you can talk about stop thinking, Robby. I get it, but I find so much joy out of that, and I'm going to think anyway, so let me be. I like starting guys off, especially lefties. I don't really do so much to righties. I think I want to start doing this, though. When you start the at-bat off with a changeup, right, it kind of sets them up for like, okay, he's going to pitch backwards. And then you follow up, the changeup with another off-speed, but a different off-speed. It's like, whoa, is he going to pitch backwards and then finish, or is he going to go slow and then hard? Like the hard, I've talked to a lot of hitters. The fastball, the hard stuff, they always think that it's going to come, right? So if we go, no, not hard, and then we go 0-1, and then not hard, and then we go 1-1, and we go not hard, and then we go 1-2, hard's got to come at some point, right? So where do I like to typically throw my fastball, my hard stuff? Top shelf. If we throw the curveball that starts at the top shelf, you're going to get a guy that wants to go, that wants to swing. You know what I mean? So that's when we throw the curveball. Now, I could have easily freaking threw the curveball and shanked it, bounced it here, and then what? Honestly, probably would have went 2-2 fastball right up here. And I fall into this pattern a lot too, and it affects me a lot. And I understand this where I do overcomplicate the thought process of it, instead of just like, dude, you're a reliever, go out there, know what stuff works for you, and freaking go gas. And that's great. But like I said, like I actually find that my stuff improves when I have this kind of predetermined set understanding of how I want to sequence stuff after stuff, if that makes any sense in the world. So that's what we did, man. We went with the little curveball and a keyframe on the edit. The question becomes, is that curveball good enough to get more swing and misses? And is it play to righties and lefties alike? Honestly, the pitch usage is very down with that pitch, percentage-wise. So who knows? I actually want to start doing it more. And I want these hats. We don't get those hats. Like I said, today's December 9th. We have the All-Star game coming up. I did not make it this year. I made it last year. I was supposed to pitch the 9th, and it started rain. And they just canceled it. I didn't even get to pitch. Didn't make it this year, but we have 3 days off, so I'm going to be getting a lot of work done. But I have like 4 or 5 more clients to get to after those. Hopefully I can do those in one day. We can do some more outing breakdowns. But key points that I wanted to get across was like the approach coming in as a reliever, still being able to think and not limit your ability. Like I always say, if you're a guy, like you got to understand what works for you. You got to understand are you a thinker? Or are you just a doer? What allows you to be the best version of yourself? Figure that out first and then go from there. And then the sequencing of, a little bit more complex than just pitching backwards, and where my thought process is with that. I think the underlying goal for any pitcher is to have stuff that complements other stuff, meaning like the tunneling aspect of it, right? Do you have a pitch that looks like your fastball down? Do you have a pitch that looks like your fastball up? Do you have a pitch that, looks like your best breaking ball but goes the other way? Like there's so many aspects to it. And that's not to say like you need 30 different pitches in your bag. My perspective, like that's kind of the most important thing for what makes a pitcher tough to hit. You know what I mean? All right, guys, much love. Until next time, I'm out. God bless. See you guys.